The film opens with a red car being relentlessly pursued after being cornered. The car is forced into a ditch but is still under fire. Thanks to skillful driving, the driver dodges bullets and returns to the highway. He unexpectedly swerves, sending the other car flying. The car flips over several times before crashing into a truck and exploding. But the other driver refuses to give up, pulling out a gun and shooting at the tires. The red car loses control and flips over, causing the driver to be severely injured. Simultaneously, the other car also crashes and bursts into flames on the highway. Fortunately, the driver of the red car survives. He is Casey, a notorious thief. Previously, due to being hunted by the American police, Casey fled to Germany. He started working for a drug dealer, Garen. Although the income was high, it came with many dangers. Casey then decided to ask Duran for leave. The main reason, however, was a woman. A few days earlier, Casey had accidentally met Marn in a bar. After only a few conversations, they agreed to get to know each other. After a while, Marn learned that her boyfriend was a drug dealer. She advised him to quit and find another job. Casey truly loved Marn, so he agreed. He moved to work in a scrapyard, and from then on, he settled down and lived with Marn. But their happiness didn't last long before Marn discovered she had a terminal illness. Without timely surgery, her life would be in danger. However, their current jobs couldn't afford the medical expenses. Marn felt incredibly discouraged. To get money for her treatment, Casey decided to return to work for Jaren. He and his best friend immediately went to receive orders from their boss. Recently, Garan had planned to rob a truck belonging to a partner named Hagen. Hagen was a leading and reputable local businessman. Besides his business, Hagen was also a drug kingpin. Jaren had previously been responsible for distribution and helped Hagen gain his current power. Despite facing significant risks, Garen only received 20% of the profits. He had previously offered to become an equal partner with Hagen, but was refused. Therefore, Garen decided to hijack the shipment. Hagen had a security detail. A massive drug shipment leaves the Netherlands and heads into Germany every 6 months. The truck contained 4,000 golf balls filled with drugs, destined for Chile. The shipment would be delivered to one of Hagen's warehouses. After the drugs were removed from the golf balls, they would be handed over to Garen for distribution. The proceeds would be converted into 500 euro notes for easier transport. Hagen's men would slip 5 million euros into each luxury truck. The exported trucks would return to Chile to purchase more drugs. The process was quick and professional. Hagen had only one driver for this particular truck. He didn't smoke or use drugs. A person with a completely clean record, able to eat, sleep, and use the restroom right in the truck to avoid stopping during deliveries. The truck's cab was equipped with a camera and GPS tracker. This mission required intelligence and skill. Jaran wanted Casey and his friend to steal supercars. For each car they brought back, they would receive 250,000 euros. After meticulously planning, the two began their operation. They deliberately caused an accident on the highway, blocking the truck. When the driver got out to check, Casey immediately attacked and subdued him. Afterward, Casey removed the GPS tracker from the truck and transferred it to another vehicle, following a pre-planned route. Casey then disguised himself as the truck driver and drove to Garen's warehouse. Hagen's men, nearby in the surveillance room, didn't notice anything. However, the altercation with the driver had injured Casey. Through the surveillance screen, Hagen's men noticed something suspicious. A security team immediately switched to the truck. His accomplices arrived at the meeting point but couldn't contact Casey. He didn't realize Casey had already gone to the warehouse. Hagen wanted to know who was behind this plan. Of course, Casey wouldn't betray Garan, knowing full well that Hagen wouldn't let him live. During the interrogation, Hagen noticed the name Marn on Casey's wrist. He threatened to harm Marn if Casey didn't confess. Later, Hagen had to attend his wife's birthday, so he left the interrogation to his henchmen. Knowing Marn might be in danger, Casey was forced to find a way to escape. During a struggle with Hagen's men, he managed to grab a piece of glass and stab him in the back. He then stole a car and drove away from the warehouse. However, one of Hagen's henchmen spotted him and jumped onto the roof of the car. Casey slammed on the brakes, throwing his assailant to the ground. He sped off to Marn's hospital, but another assassin was still chasing him. The two were locked in a fierce chase when another car suddenly appeared. The accident caused Casey's car to be thrown far away and become uncontrollable. The assassin got out and began shooting at Casey. At that moment, a police car sped towards him and rammed into the assassin's car, allowing Casey to escape the pursuit. Before getting out of the car, he noticed a large amount of cash inside, just as Guerin had said. Hagen had placed 5 million euros inside each supercar. After obtaining the money, Casey stole another car and fled the scene. He contacted his close friend, asking him to prevent Marn from returning home. Shortly after, Hagen contacted him and threatened to come looking for Marn. Not wanting his wife to be in danger, Casey promised to return the money to him, but Hagen refused the deal. Casey frantically called Marn, but she didn't answer. In desperation, he sought Guerin's help, promising him 4.8 million euros if he would send someone to protect Marn. Guerin immediately agreed, but before he could hang up, Hagen's men caught up with Casey. He narrowly dodged a bullet, but was surrounded from two sides. Casey easily took down one of the opponent's cars. However, an assassin shot out a tire, causing the car to flip over. Fortunately, Casey survived the crash, while the opponent's car unfortunately crashed into a truck and burst into flames. Casey got out of the car, stole a Mercedes, and fled the scene. He called his best friend to check on the situation, but someone had already taken Marn away. Hearing this, Casey immediately sped up, but the gas gauge showed he was out of gas. Although he didn't want to delay, he had to stop to refuel, only to find that Hagen's men had also followed him there. Casey was surrounded in a convenience store. At this point, Hagen appeared, demanded that he hand over the drugs. That night, his men checked the car and found only an empty trunk. Before Casey could explain, the convenience store owner opened fire. While Hagen was momentarily distracted, Casey quietly escaped the store. He stole a high-performance luxury car and sped away from the scene. With 470 horsepower, the car reached over 200 kilometers per hour in just 5 seconds. He called Guerin to ask if he had picked up Marn. He reported that she was safe and asked Casey to bring the money to the racetrack. Casey immediately went to deliver the money to his boss in order to see Marn, but unexpectedly, Guerin had picked up the wrong woman. At this point, they realized that Marn had truly fallen into Hagen's hands. While the two were arguing, Hagen's assassin suddenly appeared. With just 2 bullets, he took down Guerin's henchman. The assassin tied Casey up and interrogated him about the drugs in the truck. Casey tried to stall for time, waiting for an opportunity to launch a surprise counterattack. He subdued the assassin, then stole Guerin's car and fled. On the way, he received a call from Hagen. He used Marn's life to force Casey to hand over the drugs and the money Casey had stolen. They arranged to meet at a bar. As soon as Casey entered, he met Marn. Meanwhile, Guerin was still alive. He ran outside just as Casey drove away. After locating the car, he immediately went to the bar. He easily subdued Hagen's henchman, then confronted him. Guerin expressed his dissatisfaction at being refused cooperation, and Hagen also knew who was behind Casey's orders. At this point, the police surrounded the bar. Fearing Hagen might break his promise, Casey called the police. Even if he were arrested, he wanted the woman he loved to be safe. Seeing that those inside refused to surrender, the police threw smoke grenades inside. Taking advantage of the chaos, Casey grabbed the suitcase full of money and escaped with Marn. Hagen also escaped with the help of his subordinates. Only Guerin remained, having perished in a shootout with the police. Casey and his girlfriend ran to the subway. Hagen's subordinates chased after them to retrieve the suitcase of money. Casey noticed and gave the suitcase to his girlfriend to take onto the subway first. At the same time, the police arrived. Hagen's subordinates drew their guns, intending to shoot Casey, but the police were faster. Casey was then taken to the police station. He agreed to point out Hagen's truck carrying drugs, but in return, the police had to release him. In fact, that night, he had prepared a similar truck to Hagen's. He then swapped them before being captured by Hagen's subordinates. He had secretly hidden it because he feared Guerin wouldn't pay him later. But unexpectedly, that box of drugs was what helped him gain his freedom. The police agreed to Casey's demands. They then immediately sent people to arrest Hagen. With 5 million euros, Casey took Marn to the hospital for surgery, and afterwards, they lived a very happy life together. the movie ends here. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.